In honor of our guest.
Yes, I'd like to welcome Chief. I'm going to struggle with your name. Being British, I have problems with names anyway.
Groshong.
Sorry? Groshong? You're muted, sorry.
You're muted.
Groshong.
Oh, Groshong. Well,
Yep.
thank you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And we look forward to your session. And also Jon Wangen, is that right?
Yeah, Jon Wangen.
Wangen, sorry. Thank you very much for joining us. Steve used to come on a regular basis, so we've missed him, and then I found out that he's retired. So so nice to have you with us. Thank you. And Kristal, my vice chair, is coming, and Lisa. Good. So we can get started now. So I wanted to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us at the session today. We do have Chief Groshong with us today, and we also have Jon Wangen with us from THPRD. So we're going to get moving forward now. So Jimmy, would you like to start the session? Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone.
And you got the boss watching too, so I know you do a great job.
My palms are sweaty already. Let's see, I don't have much to cover. August DUI numbers, we had 35 arrests last month. The highest BAC was 0.31%, and 17 out of the 35 had a BAC of 15.15 or higher. We moved into the Public Safety Center. Now it's located on 6125 Southwest Hall Boulevard. As far as a protest update, everything's been peaceful. I think I've been told that the county, they were sending out monthly updates. They're gonna, yes, stop doing that since there's really nothing to update at this point, which is good news. Last week, someone had asked about the cameras set up at City Library. So I was told there's 3 cameras set up throughout the city, one at the library, one at the farmer's market, and one at the Beaverton Transit Center on Lombard. And these are semi-permanent to temporary to semi-permanent. And there's no one continuously watching these cameras. They're just like used for on a as needed basis. So I don't know if that answers the question as far as about the cameras.
So the only question I would have then, are they permanently recorded then? So if someone needs something from that, or are they just live feeds?
They have a short-term recording feature.
Okay.
So yeah, they're on battery is my understanding, and based on, since they are able to pan, so based on, I guess, how much movement is, how much battery is used, it depends, so it shortens or lengthens the life of the battery.
Okay.
But they were installed by the police department.
Yeah, they're managed out of our community services division and not patrol. But
Okay.
yes, but it is covered under the police department.
Officer Ho, could I interject for a second? I heard about the cameras like 3 different times from 3 different police officers so far this month, and I heard that part of the reason that they installed one, particularly at the transit center, is so many of the calls for service come from that location that they want to be that, and also that a lot of the calls are just 911 hangups from the payphones there. They want to be able to see if there's an actual incident, or see who's calling 911 and then hanging up and seeing if they need help without sending an officer to the location every time.
Right. So, right, it's used as hopefully as a deterrent for nuisance activities, and provide security as well.
Okay.
Jimmy, I'm going to jump in here for just a second. So the cameras are very clearly marked. And Jimmy's exactly right. They do continually record, but like he said, depending upon how much activity, it records over. So the Beaverton Transit Center, because there's so much activity there, the data isn't stored for very long, because it just has a certain capacity to store information. And so like for the Beaverton Farmers Market in that area, it's up, but the recording might last longer. And the only time no one's continually monitoring the cameras. So for example, let's say we got a disturbance call at the Beaverton Transit Center, and let's say someone called in and said there's somebody here with a knife or a gun, and we're trying to coordinate a response, a sergeant or an officer could pull up on their iPhone and look for safety reasons and go, oh, you know, this is probably a prank. There's nobody even on the platform, you know, or it is real, and we can coordinate our response on how we respond, you know, respond accordingly. So it's like he said, there's not somebody continually monitoring it. They only log in if there's an incident that they might want to see what's going on before we go in, or anything like that.
Thank you for that explanation. Jimmy, did you have anything else to share with us?
I do not.
So, so there's no long-term memory capability of
No.
monitoring that?
No.
That's
No.
not good.
Yeah.
If I may, down the road, get a moment with you, I've got some options for you for that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Cook Security Group.
Okay.
Richard, you raised your hand. Do you want to say something?
I had a question. I'm interested in the energy and electricity that the new safety center is using. And I read some things about it, and I was wondering how I might get more information about that. Besides calling PGE, does the city have someone who's monitoring the solar panels and the backup battery and the way that all fits together onto the grid?
Yes, so so it sounds like you've done a little bit of research. So yeah, we did go into partnership with PGE, and Captain Eric Othis, who spent 2 years of his law enforcement career being Bob the Builder, knows every nook and cranny of that building and exactly what went into it. So if you want to, I can certainly get some information from Captain Othis and get it to Miles to get to you on information on that.
Yeah, I was wondering how in the future I might check on, see what the history is of how that's all working for you.
Well, interestingly, we are open from 8 to 5 to the public, you know, because recent COVID and just to come in. And there is a monitor in our lobby that it's really quite interesting, that shows where the energy is and where it's coming from, the energy source, and what part of the building's using what energy. So if you want to sometime pop in and, you know, come through the lobby and just say, you know, I want to look at the energy source monitor, and you can absolutely look at that as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Any other questions before we move on? Thank you very much, Chief, and also Jimmy, thank you for the updates. And we'll move on now to the Tualatin Hills Parks and Recs. So, John.
Hi, everyone. We got a couple updates with what the Park District's doing with currently. On August 31st, we reopened 2 facilities to the public, Conestoga Recreation and Aquatic Center and the Tualatin Hills Athletic Center. We've adjusted hours of operation, and then we've only opened up like weight room and fitness classes to the public, where they are all registration based. So you have to go online, reserve your time to use the weight room, and made it all safe. We've started a free fitness in the park right now. Various parks throughout the Park District with drop-in fitness classes taking place. We are currently taking registrations for our out of school option. It was set to start yesterday, but due to the smoke, the program was delayed till Monday. And this is a out of school option for parents to register their kids, cover from 7:30 to 6. Our staff will help them get online and do their schoolwork, and then also embed some other activities to keep them busy and burn out some of that energy through the day. We are working with Sunset High School and their Black Student Union and an organization called Color Outside the Lines. They are working with artists on 4 murals at Sunset Park Sports Complex, and getting some art over there on the complex. And then September 14th, we were looking at trying to open the tennis center, but I believe it's all been pushed till Monday, along with Cedar Hills Recreation Center. We're going to bring that site on a lot quicker than we were expecting, due to the demand for the out of school kids. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Jon. Does anyone have any questions for Jon? Debbie?
Are parks closed? I know they were closed due to smoke. Are they open again, and effective when?
Parks are still closed right now due to the smoke. Facilities are reopening due to the smoke tomorrow.
Okay.
Hopefully Saturday parks are officially reopened.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that mean play structures?
Yeah. Yeah. We shut it all down because of smoke.
Well, I mean, play structures were closed because of COVID. So are they now open?
We reopened them and then we closed them again because of the smoke. There's like a day it was open, but
what you're saying is that Saturday they should be open again?
We're hoping.
Okay.
Yeah, it all depends on what tonight and tomorrow happen. If it goes as planned.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Jon? Okay, thank you very much, Jon. I much appreciate your update. So Gary, if you can give us the update for BCCI. Sorry, did Gary drop off? Was there? Oh, Gary, you're muted still. Thank you.
Gary.
You have Miles next on the agenda. I didn't know.
Oh, sorry, Miles. I didn't mean to miss you out, Miles. Sorry, Gary. I'm looking up at another screen and I'm missing my place. So
Multitasking, dude.
Sure. So I have some updates from the city, and then I also have some updates on Sexton Mountain Drive for you. I'm going to go through the city updates quickly first, though. Community listening sessions. So the city held community listening sessions. They were invite only with different groups from across the city. They hired a consultant to do that, and she's put together a report. She presented at council last Tuesday night, so you can watch that council meeting. Or if you go to beavertonoregon.gov/beheard, you can view her report there also. I have not read them yet, but I plan to, so I can't tell you what's in them necessarily. But all the information is up on the web now. We're in the middle of Beaverton Welcoming Week, and through the 20th, it's an annual series of events that bring together immigrants, refugees, and US-born residents to raise awareness of the benefits of welcoming everyone. We partnered with 8 community organizations through grant support to hold in-person and virtual opportunities for cultural exchange. Some of the events include storytelling, music, cultural celebrations, dance, cooking workshops, small business support, and much more. And those events are listed at beavertonoregon.gov/welcoming week. And then the new city charter. Our new city charter becomes operational January 1st, 2021, and brings with it changes to the city structure and its form of government. So we're moving from a strong mayor form of government to a city manager council form of government. In the November election, we're also electing a new city councilor for a brand new vacant council seat. There's 3 candidates right now. The city council's in the process of hiring an interim city manager to help support the transition. And while they look for a regular city manager, they've hired a professional recruiting firm to do that. And then the appointment of the regular city manager is expected to be completed in the first half of next year. And there'll be opportunities for the community to weigh in, I believe. Information on that's beavertonoregon.gov/charter. And then on Sexton Mountain Drive, last month you sent me with some questions and I talked to the traffic engineer, and this is what I found out. There was a request for no parking signs in front of the entrance to the park there. They're going to accept that request, and they're going to post no parking signs on both sides of the entrance to the park on Sexton Mountain Drive. So I don't know the timeline on that, but they're usually pretty quick at getting those installed. You asked about center line striping and the fog lines. They would need a letter or email requesting the installation of a center line. That could come from an individual or it could come from the NAC. The Traffic Commission must review the request, and then City Council approves the installation. In the past, some residents have come out against center lines because they feel it makes the street look like a 2-lane highway and can increase speeds. So it's something to weigh into your decision making. And then somebody asked about the permanent speed radar signs that flash when you're going too fast. It's considered a traffic calming device. It costs about $20,000 to have them installed, and the street has to be evaluated to see if it meets the eligibility requirements. So the engineering requirements to see if it warrants installation of those. But that is also something that the NAC could ask the traffic engineer to look into. And then finally, we asked if, would any of these improvements trigger additional roadway improvements? And he said no. So signs going in, and then there's 2 options for you if you'd like to pursue additional features on that section of road.
Right. We didn't run our subcommittee last week because of all that's been going on, but we'll take that back up. And I think Gary was the only one I think that volunteered to join me on that. So if there's anyone else who'd like to be part of that, please let me know. And we'll try to meet between now and the next, the October meeting. We can discuss those. Gary, you're muted still, sorry. Miles, can you unmute him, or do we have?
He's got to do it.
Okay.
Let's see.
There he goes.
There we are.
To speak. Okay, it thinks I'm driving. Is what it's doing. You might check with Linda Forgeron as well.
Okay.
She's not on the board, but she is a member of the NAC.
Your camera's off, Gary, too.
Yeah, I'm.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm unmuted at the same time. She is a member of the NAC, and she was in on this, I think, from the beginning. So check with her, I think, would be a good idea, too.
Okay, I will. And anyone else who wants to be part of that subcommittee, then let me know. Any questions for Miles? Thank you for your update, Miles. That was very informative.
I guess question on the speed sign thing. So they said that we just need to do the same thing as far as putting in a letter requesting that, and then they will go through the motions to see if it's warranted?
Yes. Yeah, so staff can initiate it. The program is structured so that it comes from residents.
Okay.
But they're happy to look into it, so.
Because we had mentioned something about possibly contributing towards that cost. Is that a thing, or?
That's a possibility. I believe that the traffic calming program has plenty of funding, actually. Traffic calming's incredibly hard to get the neighbors to agree to put in, and so there's often money left on the table from that fund.
So is there something, Miles, that we will need to get someone in here to tell us what the process is going to be? Because if we say, okay, we've requested it, do they then go to the residents and ask them if they want to pursue it? Or because there must, I take it there is some feedback mechanism once the request goes in.
Yeah, if you put in the letter, then I'll find out next steps.
Okay, thank you very much.
One other thing about, Miles, the parking signs, if those go in, I think Kristal is going to be interested to see how much that pushes parking around the corner onto Maverick.
It sounds like it's just in front of the entrances. So it's not like the option that we were saying, no parking after 10 p.m. or something like that. That would definitely push it onto my street. But if it's just right in front of the entrances, I don't think that's hopefully going to make a difference.
Yeah, last month when we talked about it being a safety concern, seeing people come out of the entrance and not being able to see them between parked cars. And they requested, I can't remember who, but requested no parking directly in front of the entrance. So okay. That's what the traffic engineer said he would do.
That's great. I think that'll only impact maybe 2 or 3 parking spots. So that shouldn't have a huge impact. Okay, any more questions for Miles? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Miles. So Gary, now it's your turn.
Okay, am I muted?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. The primary topic of discussion was brought on by Casara Phillips. She's working on the North Cooper Mountain Community Plan update. You're probably familiar with the notion of South Cooper Mountain. That's inside the city, and it's being developed very heavily right now. That's at 175th and Shoals Ferry. North Cooper Mountain is basically the property on top of the hill to include the Cooper Mountain Nature Park, and runs northward. I don't think it runs all the way to Farmington Road, but I'm not certain of the north boundary. That's about a 1,200 acre area and is slated for 3,760 new homes, both single family, multifamily. She walked through the various steps and the various elements that they're going to be looking at to try to come up with a cohesive plan. That was a subject of a council work session day before yesterday, and I don't know what occurred there. The plan adoption date is probably late 22, early 23, and that area would be annexed to the city of Beaverton following plan adoption. One of the real tricky parts is, given the topography of that north side of Cooper Mountain, there's limited areas that can develop and number of opportunities for green spaces. So the question is, how do you fit those residential, commercial, and natural resource areas together and still have a cohesive neighborhood area? Excuse me. The design project hearing, the downtown design project hearing, is scheduled for September 23rd. And that has been, I know it's been presented to the BCCI before. And this will actually start into the hearing phases. Let's see, grants were a topic of discussion, and since Frosty's with us, I'd like him to go through that in a few minutes if he can. The events voters forum is scheduled for October 14th. And as Miles went through, the upcoming election is for the city council. There's also a county commissioner ballot item on there as well. So having said that, I'm going to stop it there and hand off the grants part to Frosty.
A lot of the grants that were approved have basically been put on hold because of COVID and now the smoke. But the big one that we've actually gotten involved in and supported is the virtual Greenway NAC virtual, I'll call it pet walk. Mostly it's dogs. Although if you can herd cats, you can take your cat out too, or in my case, my wife might take me out. But and I'd have Miles give us an update because I think we're very close to starting that. And the routes have been selected, and there's a website, Miles, that I saw a couple of days ago that for registration. Do you mind, since you were helping them with that, give that part of it?
Yeah, so on the NAC's Facebook page, there's the event listed, and you can click on the link there to go to the registration page. There's also a page on the city website with the information. And then we're also we're boosting those events across the 4 neighborhoods to get as many people to see it as we can. I haven't looked at the numbers today though to see how many people have registered.
It just started, and I think we were supporting it. I think there was, Lisa, did you volunteer for that or to help them? Have you done anything with them?
Yeah, well, I need to jump in a little more, but I'm, going to be helping to put together the routes. Yeah. I thought initially I didn't realize they wanted multiple. They actually want 5, so we're going to try to create 5.
Yeah, and it would be
within the NAC.
That would be offered to more than just the South Beaverton and Greenway NACs. It'd be for the city as well. And yeah. I think it's a really great idea. I'm not sure I'd be walking right now. As a pharmacist, if you don't want to be exposed to COVID, especially in this smoke. So hopefully this will be gone in the next few days, and it should be a really good opportunity to get out and do something with your family and your pets. And there's also ways to do dog lookalikes or pet lookalikes and dress up the pet, and there'll be contests and stuff like that. So get online and take a look at it, because it looks like, I think it's going to be a fun opportunity.
After everyone's been shut in for days, they'll be looking forward to getting out.
Richard?
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something. I was happened to be listening to the video of the Tuesday Beaverton City Council, and I was interested in the Cooper Mountain area also, and they're doing the community plan for and the presentation Tuesday was for what's called the Cooper Mountain community plan. And I just wanted to clarify that there's actually 3 units. There's the North Cooper Mountain, which is clear up on the other side. There's the Cooper Mountain, which is the area at the top of the mountain. And then there's the South Cooper Mountain, which is, as Gary said, it's in the city limits, and it's right next to Southside High School. So there's actually 3 units that they're developing. 2 of them, the North and the Cooper Mountain one, are in unincorporated Washington County. They're not in the city yet. And anyway, if you want to find out more about the Cooper Mountain status, you can go to the video on the City Council agenda and click on the particular item for the Cooper Mountain, and the staff does a great presentation on what they're doing with that.
Yeah, that was Mountainside High School, by the way.
Yeah, Mountainside.
If there's interest, we can also have the staff come to your next meeting, possibly, to give the presentation or abbreviated version of it. They're going out to Sexton Mountain in October.
Yeah, we got a very good overview of it at the NAC, at the BCCI meeting last month, and it's going to add a lot of traffic and a lot of people in that area. And there'll be stores and other things like that too. And it'll be interesting to see what the parks people are going to be doing up there too.
Miles, is it something where the decision will be made like in the future if a new NAC will be created or if it'll be absorbed into another NAC?
Yeah, that'll be a future discussion.
Okay.
The way the city code is set up, creation of a new NAC comes from the residents. So they request to form a NAC. Sure. Otherwise, they're just added to Neighbor Southwest at right now.
Okay, That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for is everyone finished? So Frosty and Gary, are you finished?
We're done, thank.
Okay.
I'm finished.
Debbie.
Just to, one of the other things and about the voters forum was a request to the NACs that the NACs get word out requesting questions for the voters forum. So for the mayor's race, the city council races, and the county commissioner. So they want questions submitted. So
Yeah, and I sent that out on the email, Frosty. Was that something that you were able to put on the next door? So yes, so we've already covered that, but thank you for raising that. We will be asking. We're covering that a little bit later on too. Any other questions?
And that'll be on October 14th, by the way, the voters forum.
Yep. Thank you. There's no other questions. Thank you, Frosty. Thank you, Gary, for your update.
Virtually on October 14th.
John, could I ask you if you could just take a note, if you could see if there is anything planned for the Cooper Mountain from a Tualatin Parks and Recs perspective?
Yeah, I'll take a look. And you want me to email you or bring it next meeting?
You can bring it back to the next meeting.
I know that some of that area is out of THPRD districts, but let me find out if there are any plans for parks or anything to be put in there.
So thank you. Miles, would that change if they're being adopted into the Beaverton city limits? Would that extend Tualatin Parks and Rec? Do they link together or are they separate?
They're not linked together. They're their own district. I imagine that if they join the city, THPRD would also annex them into the park district, but I don't know for sure.
That would probably require a vote because it's a separate taxing entity, right, John?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened with South Cooper Mountain is the large property owners chose to come into the city so that they could develop their property to the maximum extent. You can't develop property the same way in Washington County that you can in the city. So it didn't come in like one house at a time, didn't vote to come into the city or come into THPRD. The large landowners, the 5 or 6 of them that there were, decided that's what they wanted to do.
Okay. So would that mean that the other parts that are not part of the city at the moment, they're Washington County and they're not supported by anyone from a Parks and Recs?
They're supported by Washington County Parks.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a Washington Parks. Okay.
Yeah, there's not much of one, but they do have one.
Okay.
Not nearly as good as THPRD.
Of course not. No. Okay, again, thank you very much for both of you. I'd like now to welcome Chief. I'm going to get it right by the end of the evening. Groshong, if you please, would you? We sent out a message, so if anyone has any questions for her, she doesn't have a fixed presentation, but if you'd like to introduce you and some of the things that you're planning, thinking, and working on, and then we'll come to the questions after that.
Okay, thank you. So just as a forewarning, I've been kicked out a couple times. So if I get kicked out, I'll try and log back in to the meeting. I'd like to thank you guys for inviting me here tonight. It's been a wild ride the last probably, 8 months, 7 months. Lots of stuff going on with, it started out with the pandemic, and then the murder of George Floyd, and then now the fires, and it's one thing. And then let's add on to that, picking up a police department and moving it completely in a matter of a week to a brand new building. We're very grateful for our building, for the community members who voted, and the city and the council for getting this put together. It's state of the art. building. And as some of you know who've worked with subcontractors before, and when you move into a building that's 72,000 square feet, not everything's going to work perfectly the first day. So we're playing catch up with that and trying to fix a few snags along the way. But other than that, we're all very happy to be in our new neighborhood. We have begun outreach in the neighborhood to include officers going out and contacting, of course, COVID safety with masks and distancing, to the business owners to say that we're here, we're happy to be in the neighborhood, and you know, more to follow on that. So other than that, you know, just I was appointed, for those of you that don't know, I was interim chief for a year when Chief Monger retired, from June of 2019 to June of 2020. And then in June of 2020, the mayor appointed me as permanent. So so I'm fairly new, even though I was interim for a year. Being the permanent chief is a little bit different, not a ton. So I'm getting my sea legs here, but have great officers, great support system. And I'm just here to basically answer any questions that I can that you all might have. If I don't know the answer, I will certainly do my best to find the answer for you and get back to you. So with that, I'd just like to open it up, and you can ask me, you know, free game on anything. And with that, I'll just leave it up to you guys.
Yes, Debbie.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Personal question to start off with, actually 2 questions. How many years have you been with the department, and do you live in the city of Beaverton?
I have been with the department since July of 1995, so 25 years. So I grew up, I like to say I grew up with the Beaverton Police Department. So I'll go with just my career very quickly. I was a patrol officer for 6 years. I was in detectives for 6, and I worked major crimes team. I was promoted to the rank of sergeant, was a patrol sergeant for 3 years, was promoted to the rank of lieutenant. I served as a patrol lieutenant, a internal affairs.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
We need to get her a better internet service. She may be back in a minute.
Having gone through, just so you know, and I don't know if this is the case with Chief Groshong, but a lot of the officers do not live in the towns that they are police officers. It's many of them their choice, and there's not a requirement.
No, but it's a valid question, though.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And if you haven't had a chance to go through the police academy, it is amazing. It really is. And the ride-alongs are, you learn a lot.
I don't think they're doing it right now with COVID.
No.
I think that's what I understood.
But it'll probably, I'm guessing, maybe the spring or next fall. Everything from identity theft to canines to weapons to patrol to detectives. You know, it's a 12-week, 1 week a night program.
In 1 night a week.
Yeah, 1 night a week. Thank you.
Although 1 night might seem like a week.
It's about a good 3 hours, like from 6 to 9. And then
Hey,
okay,
she's back.
you're back. We decided as a NAC we'd like to sponsor you a better internet provider.
And you're muted right now.
I was literally sweating trying to call in. So anyway, I don't know where I cut off, but
You were saying you just became a lieutenant.
yes.
You've gone from a sergeant in 3 years to a lieutenant.
Yeah, and I was over internal investigations, community services, and patrol. I spent some time in each division, and then promoted to captain, and then here I am today as chief.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And the other question was, do you live in Beaverton or?
I do not. I live in Hillsdale. Just off of Dosh Road, if any of you know where that is.
My alumni, Wilson High School.
There you go. I walk around that school quite frequently.
I have a question. I called the Blazers up since I've had season tickets, and I am not real happy with what's going on in Portland, and I hope we never become Portland. Having grown up in this state since 1944, I am very concerned about riding Max. I have been, my wife and I have been accosted a couple of times over the last probably, since Max has been in play. We park up at the Sunset Transit Center and then go straight down, and extremely convenient and safe. We used to be safer than driving. I'm not so sure anymore. And I know there's different jurisdictions, and I don't see TriMet security personnel on these trains at all. And I told the Blazers that we're seriously considering not buying season tickets. And I know they have no jurisdiction over this, but they are a major tax base. Even players that come in from out of state that play there have to pay Oregon income taxes. And I've got to believe there's got to be something that can be done to increase the security, not just at the NAC stations, but on the trains as well. I'm curious what your opinion is and what could be done, and then keeping Beaverton. I guess those are two-part questions.
Are you kidding me? Come on.
Oh, she froze out again.
Yep.
Maybe you just phone in better.
Are you saying specifically for trying?
Yeah. Where did you lose me?
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that. About the TriMet, you're not feeling safe on TriMet.
That is correct. Yes, that's what he said.
Okay, hang on. I'm trying to get in. Followed by pound.
You're not muted. You're muted now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. We can now, yes.
Okay. Good night. So yeah, TriMet is, Frosty, if I may, are you just asking specifically for TriMet, or?
There's got to be better coordination between Portland Police, the outlying communities policing agencies, and TriMet. And we've had so many different minor but also major incidents, and I'm sorry, I just don't feel safe on Max anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am, honestly, I don't blame you. So for those of you that don't know, or maybe you do, we participate in a multi-agency team. So we have officers assigned to TriMet. Right now we have 3 officers and a sergeant assigned to TriMet. And back in, in the day when everybody participated, there was Clackamas County, there was Tigard, there was the Washington County Sheriff's Office, and Portland. As many of you know, Portland pulled out
right shortly after the death of George Floyd. And when I say pulled out, they're in the process of pulling out. And so Multnomah County is going to take over TriMet, because even though it was run by TriMet, Portland held the control. So now it's going to be Multnomah County. And I can tell you they are down by the end of the year. They are going to be down, I think, 24 officer positions for TriMet, the TriMet police force, if you will. And so if you think it's bare now, it's going to be definitely more bare after December. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. So yeah, a lot of angst on TriMet. We get a lot of calls to the Beaverton Transit Center. Now, out of the 3 officers and the sergeant that we have, we don't get a say on where they are assigned. So 2 of our officers are assigned to the west side, which is in our city and west. Excuse me, 4 officers, and then 2 more officers one is assigned to, both of those are assigned to downtown, and our sergeant is assigned to the west side. The west side is very strong and robust because officers want to work the west side. They don't very much right now, especially enjoy working down in Portland on TriMet.
You're muted. You're still muted, yeah. Yeah, Chief, you're still muted.
How about now?
Yep, can hear you. There was a little echo there, but.
Okay. You guys, I'm so sorry. I'll come to the next month's meeting.
I actually was going to suggest that if you are interested with all the technical difficulties you're having, it's unfair to you because it's not giving you a fair shot at answering the questions. But if you're interested in doing that, we can make some time for you next month as well.
Yeah. I would very much be agreeable.
I have a nephew who's in the Hillsborough Police Department and a very good friend whose son's in the Southeast Portland. And the Portland police officer is definitely looking to leave. And so if you have openings, I'll let them know. But they're not being supported like they should be. And we see the increase of crime that results.
Yeah, it's not good.
Could I ask a question? Chief, in 2015, there was a task force on 21st century policing. And I'm curious, looking at the report, it seems like there's a lot of really interesting initiatives. I was wondering, can you talk to the adoption of 21st century policing in Beaverton?
So, Miles, I was going to say maybe if we want to invite her back, I know it must be very frustrating for her not being able to get this technology to work.
I can save my question then if we want to do next month and just sort of terminate here and then
Chief.
So, you guys, I'm so sorry.
Well, Chief, what would you feel more comfortable doing? Would you like to just come back next meeting and trying to keep moving forward, because I think it's very frustrating for you. It's not helping.
Why don't we get her email address and then we can email her the questions? Would that be
You can
okay?
you can email them to me, Frosty, and I'll put it in the chat and package it all up for the chief,
Okay.
so she gets them all at once.
I would like to have her email address for another discussion though.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have Frosty's email address, so I'm not sure how I would, or Miles, your email address. I'm not sure how I would send. I'm just a normal person, right? Not an official. So I don't have any email addresses.
You can always send it to me because I'm a normal person too, and you've got my.
I have your email address. That's
so
true.
you
Yeah.
send it to me, and I will forward them on. I'll make sure they get there whichever way.
I
So
think
Chief, if you would be happier for that, then if you can come back next week, we'll give you some time and we'll get you all the questions ahead of time. We thank you very much. And if you let us know who your internet provider is, we'll put a collection together and see if we can get you a better one. Okay. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you very much for being with us. If you want to listen, please feel free to.
It's great to have you on board as the chief.
Thank you very much for all you're doing.
I have a question, and maybe somebody else can answer instead of her. Does anybody know if the protests are still going on with all of the smoke? The news just decides to not say anything about it anymore.
Yes, it is. Yes, they are.
Oh, yeah,
they are, but one of the groups that was organizing the protest has also organized gathering supplies to give to the victims of the fires. So they've done that as well. So, and Frosty, can I just say, I read the police report in the newspaper, and a lot of the property crimes and, people breaking into cars and that kind of thing, I would guess is probably drug related. And I don't think that's, doesn't stop at the city limits of Portland. It's going on in Beaverton. And so I think that's also an issue in terms of, it's not just related to the protests in Portland, but it's talking about police reform and putting,
Deborah, it's the politician's support or non-support of your police department that makes the difference. Trust me, I've talked to many police officers.
But let me just say that it's not mutually exclusive to be interested and concerned about police reform and racial bias within police departments and supporting the police. So just my 2 cents.
Okay.
That'll be a discussion.
So let me hold that. We can hold that for next week. I thank the chief for coming back next week. If you have any questions, you don't have Miles's email address, please send them to me and I'll make sure that they definitely get there. If you don't have my email address, it's really complicated. So if you have a pen, I'll give it to you now. It's mike.alner@gmail.com. So hopefully you will be able to get that to me and I will then pass it on. Okay, so moving forward then, we have the Voters Forum. Again, Debbie, thank you very much for raising that. We have been requested through the NAC to ask 4 questions for the Voter Forum. Again, you can either raise the question, send them to me if you don't have Miles, or you can raise a question and send them to myself and I'll make sure they get forwarded on. But we do want to give everyone the opportunity, any neighbors you have, anyone else that you contact, if you want to make sure that they have the opportunity to do the same, to raise these questions, and then we'll funnel it through here just to make sure that they get to the right place for those questions to be answered. Related to that, is there any other questions that anyone else has, or any questions that someone wants to give me now, and I'll write them down and make sure they get sent? Okay, so if you have any questions for the Voters Forum, please do let me know and we'll move forward. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is related to the NAC positions to be voted on in November. So for those that have been part of the NAC, you may know this. For those that aren't, we actually serve 1 year on the NAC. We are voted in by the board members. Each board member has a vote. And we will be voting in the November timeframe. We raise nominations in October, and then we will vote on it in November. There are 5 positions that will be coming up for renewal. There is the chair, and that is my position, will be coming up for renewal. Vice chair, recorder, finance, treasurer, and I think we also vote on the NAC BCCI rep as well, who we select for that. So there are 5 positions. Now there are some rules in our bylaws that actually say that for the board positions, no one can be in those positions for more than 3 consecutive years, which means that myself and Heidi will not be able to stand for the positions that we've been holding. We can be nominated for something else, but we cannot hold those those positions for the next year. We can come back in the year after. So I just want everyone to be thinking about, if there's anyone out there that wants to fulfill any of these positions, any of the people that are already holding those positions and are not coming up, don't have a restriction, a term limit, and want to be able to stay there. Again, they can be renominated, or you can nominate yourself for those positions as well. And then we will do that nomination at the next meeting, and they will vote on it in the November meeting, and your term will start in January. Is there any questions about that? Lisa, you're muted, or I can't hear you.
I was double muted.
All
I
right.
was muted on my phone and on my computer. Whoops. Okay, so I think that I would also fall into that, because 2018, 2019, 2020.
You have 1 year, because Janice was doing it
So
when I joined.
She was still, and I was the alternate. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have one.
Cool.
You have 1 year left still to go.
Okay, but that being said, are we still? Because I agree with you about the term of 3 years making it like your last year is the only year that you really have it like locked down, especially for the chair position, right? And I'm on the Social Services Funding Committee board, which it's the same way there, that it's so important to have people with experience and stuff. And 3 years is really not that long. Oh, it's behind me. So yeah, I mean, if we want to discuss that or vote on changing that, I am in favor of that.
Okay. Well, I was going to raise that after going through letting people know that these are the positions that will be coming up. I did discuss it with Miles. There is no reason why we cannot change our bylaws. I think the concern, or the reason why they may have had it in there, just in case someone got entrenched in a position and didn't want to go. But the issue, as Miles rightly raised, we have to be voted in every year anyway. So if that is the position, you can be voted off and not continue to hold the position. So in a sense, I'm in favor, whether it's for me or someone else. I'm not looking to stay here forever. I do feel a little bit frustrated that we didn't get to do our park event this year, because I think it would have been an even bigger and a better event, and it would have been nice to have seen that. But I also feel that I begin to feel in the swing of it, and yeah, to give it up now, yes, it'll be fine. I'm happy to do that, but I think it would also give us the ability to train up somebody else so that they could take over and we'd have a better transition, rather than saying, okay, in 2 months' time, we need to find someone else to do this. And if we don't find somebody, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult.
You want to get an even more epic sunburn. Is that the idea at the park event? Yeah.
Well, yes, yeah, more than I did last time. Yeah.
Last time it was pretty amazing.
Well, I was really fit after that day. I must have walked 100 miles by the time I'd finished. So, but anyway, so if what I actually said on the email that I put out is I wanted to look at the possibility for the October. I will put it on the agenda. If everyone is happy, that we will look at changing our bylaws to remove the restrictions on the term lengths for the board members. Now, that will be something we can discuss in the October session, as whether we want to just extend them to 5 years, or whether we want to remove those limits altogether. Now, the other thing in our bylaws, it also says that you cannot be a board member for more than 10 years, which would also be if you live like Frosty has lived here since 1940.
Before
That
Dirk-
would be really frustrating. So
I think they put that in for Frosty.
oh, we put it in for Frosty. Oh, that's why. Okay, thank you.
No, my wife put it in.
Yeah. No, my wife's the same position. She said, "Oh, you don't want to do this for more and more years, do you? I'd like to see you some more." Thank you.
It doesn't mean you can't be on, a member and participate in the committee and in the meeting. So
no, that is true.
And for example, be on the moving the park committees and stuff like that. So it's just being a board member to vote. So
yeah. So we have most of our members here. Miles, if you can help me, do I need to make a proposal that we will discuss it in October, or can we just have a show of hands to say we want to put it on the agenda and we'll discuss it formally in October?
Yeah, so as far as putting anything on the agenda, that's your call as chair, Mike.
Right, but I didn't know if we needed to give notice that we want to change the bylaws ahead of time.
Yeah, so you'll need to have the discussion about it and the possible vote to change that on the agenda for
Okay.
next month.
So
But
we
you don't
could
need to
do that in
vote
1 month.
to have it, yeah.
Okay, all right then. So rather than be embarrassed later on, can I have a show of hands if you are happy for us to look at rewriting the bylaws with regards to the term positions only? I don't want to go through a major review, but just the term positions. Can you show your hands, please? Okay, thank you. I will then add that to the agenda, and then we'll
I have
look
a
at.
question for Miles, Mike.
Yes.
Can you tell us what the other NACs have done, if they've even considered this, or is it just us right now?
So all the bylaws are different by each NAC. They're all written by the volunteers who started the NAC at the time. There's 11 of them, and I don't have them memorized. Some have term limits, some don't.
Okay, that's
5
good.
Oaks, for example, theirs is 2 years, and basically it switches off between the same 2 people every 2 years. So that works for them. But yeah, and I might send out an email to the board members just listing some other things to consider with your bylaws. If you're going to open them up to change them, there's some other considerations to think about too.
That'd be good.
Okay, we're more than happy to do that then. So we'll put that in at the October meeting as well, and then we'll also put the chief back into that meeting as well as that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the my discussions. Is there any other questions about the board member positions? No questions. Okay, so we'll move on to the round table. We are ahead of time.
Mike?
Yes.
One of our guests has her hand up. Let me unmute her. I think she has a question. Alicia?
Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't have a question. I raised my hand about, I don't even know why. It said, raise your hand. I raised my hand. Trying to be a participant.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being a participant. Yeah. Thank you, Miles, for saying that. I missed that.
Sure.
Okay, round table. This is an open forum. Has anyone got an update for the virtual pet walk? Apart from what we've already heard, is there anyone else that wants to be part of that? I know we voted in last session that we as a NAC were going to be supporting it. So if there's anyone else that wants to be part of that, just let us know. We can use our volunteer hours for that.
I don't think we've been asked to donate any of our volunteer hours, which equal money, have we?
You know, Lisa's using her volunteer hours. Their costs are minimal. They don't need a lot of volunteer hours.
I didn't think very much.
What they do need help with is getting the word out and getting participation.
Okay, so that's something I think we can all do then in just making people aware of it and trying to encourage others to do it too.
The only other thing I thought maybe we can offer some support in, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot, Frosty, but I know you have really good connections and connections with businesses that donated to our events in years past. And since we're not, we didn't have an event, so I know that that's something, because they're going to do prizes, you know, for like best pet video and costume and things like that. So I think they're open to that, or would really appreciate that if we have any businesses that want to donate.
Yeah, what I did in the past, well, I guess it's been 4 years. This would have been our fifth, I think, Mike. But I went out to got, for example, grocery stores to donate water, and then especially when we had the vendors and their tables did a lot of that. I don't think though, since it's virtual and you never know who's going to do it when, it doesn't fit that type of model. But prizes for sure. So if you can let me know when the next virtual pet walk is, I'd be happy to get on there and we can talk about who to go knock on doors, and I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I think we've been trying to put a meeting together, Miles, but I know I couldn't make it to one of the nights that was suggested, and then we didn't end up having another one, like we didn't end up rescheduling it last week. So I think you have been on some of the emails, Frosty. I saw your name, but if you're not on it, you know, when we talk about setting up next, you know, Zoom meeting, I'll make sure that we let you know. But yeah, I think it's true. It would be different than what, you know, it's not like they can donate water or things like that, but if they're interested in prizes, because I think they're going to end up setting like a submission date. If you want to participate in the contest and win a prize, you have to submit your video by this date, and then they're going to put them all together and figure out a way to get, like, whether people vote for them on Facebook, and that's how the winner is chosen, or something like that. And I think it's really creative and a really great way to feel like there's still some community togetherness right now.
You just helped me remember another thing too. One of the things that we did is we took some of our NAC money and actually purchased some nice prizes, and of course we paid for the balloons and for the kids and things like that for the virtual, for our movie and fair in the park. So we could take some of our, something to discuss. We could take some of our money too and do that if the Greenway doesn't have that much. So that's another thing we could add to that conversation.
I think I've discussed it with Greenway and encouraged them to purchase items from local businesses to give away with the grant money, because a lot of local businesses are hurting and you want to support your neighborhood. I think they probably just need help going out and picking up things and purchasing it from different places and having ideas on what to get. They have enough funding and enough volunteer hours to cover it. So it's really just bodies. Like,
I'd be happy to just go out and buy it and then get reimbursed later if that's.
I think what I'll do is I'll set up a doodle poll and get everybody who's interested on it to find a time to meet. And we can discuss it then.
Yeah, you've done that multiple times for our grant committee. So
yeah.
Okay, so, and the only thing is, Lisa, just for you, I thought it was really funny. I have 40 bottles left from our last summer fair, so you can, if you want water, I'll donate some of those.
Okay.
Miles, have they created any of those lawn signs? Because that's something we could definitely do in a NAC. If there's a lawn sign that either has a barcode on it or something, or instructions for the website or where the virtual is, we could definitely take some of those and put them around in our area. We've done that before.
That's actually a really good idea. They haven't, and I don't know that there's time to get them put together, but I can check with them.
If they can get me the artwork, I know we were able to get them from Office Depot. They can actually turn them around really quickly. And the company you normally work with, just across the road, they were able to put those things fairly quickly together. So if they had some artwork, we could do something.
Okay.
It's just as an idea, so that people, because it'll make it more visible for people to look at.
Yeah.
Are they coordinating with Tualatin Hills Parks and Rec in terms of getting the word out and, you know, like posting signs in the parks and?
No.
So John, is that something that could be done? I know we've had issues before trying to give signs to people in the Tualatin Park rec areas, but as they've now opened, if it's possible to put a poster up there that they could use it as part of the neighborhood society.
I can take it to ask, but I know we kind of have a policy of not hanging signs in the parks, but I can always ask.
Or at least with Greenway Park, since it's the Greenway NAC and Greenway Park is in the Greenway NAC.
Yeah. Miles, maybe we can connect and I can get some more information about the event.
Absolutely.
Also, I was thinking in the rec center, if people are coming there, normally they're there for fitness and things. Maybe they'll be walking their dogs. It's just a way that when they go in there, if there's something in there, just to make them aware of it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like the max we're able to take of people right now is 12.
In the centers?
Yeah, we can take 100 in the center, but our current programming, we're taking 12. Okay. Starting next week, it'll increase, but it's even with the out of school program, parents aren't coming in. We're walking them from the car to the entrance.
So if we were to generate some of these lawn signs and actually put it at the entrance of the place when they're coming in, the parents would actually get to see it too. It's just an idea.
Yeah, I can run it past it, or we can talk about somehow getting some flyers to the out of school kids to take home.
That would be good too.
I think there's. Let's see if I can get connected with the communications department and see if there is some cross promotion we can do.
Even a link on the website that, you know, if I go to the website about, is my park open, is the playground open, that, oh, hey, here's a virtual pet thing and click this link for more information.
Okay.
Well, and I also feel like the stuff that Kristal did for movie night through Facebook that we paid for, like that, I feel like worked pretty well too.
I am doing that.
Oh, okay.
That's the boosting, right? Like that's what it means. Yeah. Okay.
Any other comments or questions on this pet walk fun event before we move on from that?
Just, John, I'll send you an email on Monday. We can connect.
That sounds good. It's the Greenway NAC that's doing it?
It is, yeah. But they're inviting the whole southern part of the city to participate.
I think my supervisor is actually the THPRD representative on that NAC. So
okay,
that's easy.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay.
John, it's been really great to have the THPRD represented. Started with Steve, what, about 5 years ago or so? It's been really great having you.
Was it Steve Goldgren?
Yes, yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yep, he was fun to have. Yeah. Okay, then the next one, the next month's agenda. So we're going to open it back up for the chief to come back. We also then have the voting, the bylaw updates. And we also talked about, for the next agenda, we're looking at Proposition 2001. Is that right, Miles?
Yeah.
It's actually a law now.
Mike, if I can, I think the idea was to go back and revisit the housing options survey and the work program that's being laid out, which is largely being driven by House Bill 2001. So the mandate is the state legislation has become effective. This was the notion was to get the planner back out here and advise the NAC. The city has incorporated the House Bill 2001 into the housing options program, which is trying to identify different areas of the city that offer redevelopment opportunities and find the better places where the housing options would work. And Miles, if I got that screwed up, please get me back on track. But I see this as a combination of a couple of different efforts, and it's going to have an effect on some neighborhoods at least.
Okay. So is that something, Miles, we could get one of the planners to come out and go through those options with us? Because we did highlight some time for them.
Yeah, you want to do that next month or in November?
It may be better in November, because if we've got the chief back again, I don't want to overcrowd the meeting. Okay. So if it's possible for November.
Yeah, I'll ask. That gives them time.
Yeah, so I believe Steve Zeller.
Rob
is the
Zoller.
planner working. Rob, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is back opening it up to the rest of everyone else. Is there anything else that anyone wants to discuss for the roundtable?
I just wanted to add that I saw that the property on Davies went pending again. I don't know who's buying it at this point, but just wanted to point that out if anybody didn't see that.
Oh, that's the Southridge Park development that we were talking about? Okay.
The Meadowway Park, wasn't it, Debbie? You're muted.
Both of those, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for that update. Any other matters?
Yeah, so
Lisa.
Sorry, wait, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to like brainstorm about this or consider like what we could do as a NAC, or maybe even, I guess, sort of what the entire neighborhood program could do, Miles. But I've been attending city council for the last like couple months, every Tuesday night. And there's a group of people that call in every Tuesday night or every city council who are really unhappy, have a lot of concerns about racial bias and police brutality and a lot of other things, and related to that. And this past Tuesday, somebody said, "This is the only time that we get to tell us your concerns." And I was like on the other side of my screen, like, no, it's not. I've been knowing that we had Chief Groshong joining us this Thursday for the last month, and I've been so happy about that. And of course, we had technical difficulties, no big deal. She's willing to come back, which is wonderful. But I was struck by this comment because it was clear to me that this individual, unfortunately, is not aware of the opportunities that do exist for residents to be involved, such as the NACs. So to me, it's like, if you have these concerns and you feel that your voice has been heard, you should be going to your NAC every month, and you should be in touch with your NAC chair. And if you're not, why not, right? Like, what can we do to improve that and give people a chance to create relationships in their neighborhood? So I'm like I said, I'm just brainstorming about this and throwing it out there, but I wonder if there's even an opportunity for somebody to present at city council soon to like give a little boost for NACs. But I guess David,
I think that's a great comment, because as Mike will attest, I had a lot of difficulty as just an unaligned citizen with no other sort of particular role. How do I even know when the meetings are? And I would find out about them. Oh yeah, tonight from somebody else in the household. Oh yeah, I have a meeting tonight, and it's like the NAC. I didn't know about it. I wasn't prepared. So I think I'm finally now getting emails about it, which I am so grateful for. Whoever put me on that email list, I am so happy, because I'm just like, I got a lot of stuff going on. And it's like I just don't even know, right? And so you're right, Lisa. It's a great way to get your voice heard. The problem is, I think whatever's going on, and I don't do much Facebook. I kind of detest Facebook, and I'm not on Nextdoor at all. So maybe that's my fault. I just, social not working is like, I think I have some issues about both of those. So anyway, from my standpoint, that's not working for me. So if there's some way we can figure out, how to expand. And, I was kind of thinking about that with all our discussions on a couple of the topics, whether it's Meadow Way or the street issue up there where Mike lives, I'm thinking, well, how about the other residents in South Beaverton who may have some issues about the traffic in their area, but they're not here, right? So I feel like that's a tremendously lost opportunity that we need to figure out how to, solve. And anyway, so I'm in violent agreement with you. Yeah.
Mike, can I address some of that from a BCCI standpoint?
I'm going to go. Let me jump in real quick. Thanks, Frosty. Yeah, David, I totally agree with you that there's a lack of awareness of the neighborhood program. It's in every Your City that comes to every mailbox 6 times a year. You just got a postcard at your house about the boards and commissions, and it's on the front side of that, a big picture talking about the neighborhood program. And then we do social media, but yeah, I am open to any creative ways to get the word out. The most effective I've seen in the 10 years I've been doing this is the personal ask. So talking to your neighbors and letting them know about it and asking them to attend a meeting or two. But yeah, I'm 100% with you. It's tough to get in front of people when they've got so much coming at them all the time.
Yes, David.
I was just going to say, I attended a few meetings and wrote my email address down on a sign-in sheet. And I was hoping that would get me an invite, to care enough to show up. But it took some additional work on my part to finally get emails. And so we could do a great job by just the people who've been interested to attend at least one meeting, right? I mean, now I don't know what kind of permission people, give by putting their emails address down, but I think that's a tremendous, people were at least interested enough to attend one meeting physically, right? So
we do take those emails and enter them into the notify me, and then they have to go in and click yes, I want to get them. And sometimes the time between the meeting and when somebody can get to that work is quite long, and they're like, what is this? I don't know what this is. I didn't want to sign up for this.
Yeah, I don't remember getting anything. So anyway, thanks. That's good to know.
Well, that's definitely something, Lisa, we could carry on brainstorming.
No,
So,
this is important because there's 11 NACs, and David, you're absolutely correct, and so is Lisa. Each NAC has a representative, and I used to be the primary. I'm the alternate now, and Gary's the primary. That meets once a month, and the boards and commissions, there are so many opportunities to participate. This is probably one of the most participatory communities I've ever been in. And I think we've probably gotten several awards for that. And all anybody would need to do is to go onto the Beaverton City website and search through that. And there's ways to sign up there too. So, but you're absolutely correct. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind sometimes. We have tried to recruit to have people come to these meetings, and over the last probably 7 or 8 years that I've been participating, the things that draw it has been big issues. For example, the Cobb property off of that was supposed to be a park, and we were able to save it to be a park. Meadow Way was another big issue. Those things all of a sudden rally people, but people are so busy in their own lives dealing with all kinds of things, and it ebbs and flows up and down a lot of times. But the city of Beaverton has multiple committees, and it doesn't take much to go online to find them. And then it just takes an effort on those individuals to sign up and be persistent like you were, David, to, may take an extra day, month or two to get on. But we encourage everybody to participate because many hands make light work. And that's why I think our movie in the park have been so successful these last 4 or 5 years. And, when you get 800 to 1,000 people show up for those things, it's pretty rewarding for all the work that we put in on it. But just remember the information can flow from the city council down to the BCCI, down to the NACs, and also in reverse. Stuff can be taken up to the BCCI. So we actually have a direct capability to influence at the BCCI meetings what the city council does. And they have one of the city councilors that rotates every year to be just like Miles is on our group for representing the city, our NAC, the city council has somebody every year to represent the city council at the Beaverton Committee for Community Involvement is what BCCI stands for.
Right. Okay. I think what Lisa was saying though is interesting. Clearly there are constituents who don't feel like they're being heard other than going to city council. So that was to her point. You know, all the things you said were great. More apparently needs to be done.
Well,
I would agree.
There's also the issue of people who call in to a city council meeting on the phone are communicating directly to the city council. If somebody comes to a NAC meeting and expresses something that gets then passed up the line, the reality is it's community involvement at the NAC level, but we can have an influence. We don't have any decision-making power in terms of what the city council does, what the police department does. And so that was one of the things. I listened to the recording of the August 4th city council meeting, and there was police reform, public safety discussed at length at that meeting. And it was expressed by at least 2 of the city councilors recognizing that there's an issue with communication from the police department to the public in community relations, and what the, you know, like the 21st century policing question that was asked tonight. You know, it was asked to Officer Cho at our last month's meeting, and then, you know, the decision was made to invite the chief to come to this month. Well, it still hasn't been answered. And so there's that, you know, and some of it is Zoom meetings and the communication lag. But I think that what Lisa heard from those people calling in was the frustration of feeling like they're not being heard. And so, you know, I'm sitting here feeling a little bit of frustration that here's, you know, last month's meeting, this month's meeting, and then it's essentially been tabled to next month because of, you know, technical issues and that kind of thing. And so a question's been asked, but still not answered. And so again, it's that frustration with the communication going both directions. And so, and again, people should be able to express questions and concerns and frustrations. It doesn't mean that they don't support the police, so, or the city councilors. But, you know, if people get essentially shot down for asking a question and expressing frustration, they're not going to ask another question, or they're going to take it to social media, and then who knows what happens. So
yeah, so I know we're almost out of time here, but to clarify, I have a whole set of questions for Chief Groshong involving 8 Can't Wait, why the department doesn't report any statistics about race when it comes to how many stops they do, anything like that, arrests. They don't have any of that information public. So I have the same concerns as most of these people calling in to city council, but I am pretty plugged into the city at this point personally, and I'm just a normal person too. I mean, I work, I have a corporate job, I have a toddler, I rent a townhome in Sterling Point. I mean, but I got involved and I've been able to stay involved. And part of that is because that's something that was talked about actually this Tuesday, is participatory form of government with budgeting, giving childcare and things like that, which obviously is challenging right now with COVID. But basically, what I'm saying is, like, people should be able to call into city council and say whatever they like. Like, of course, that's you know, a essential element of, like, democracy and everything. So I have no problem with the fact that people are calling and saying it, but the fact that they feel this is the only time we get to get our voice be heard. But I'm saying I feel I have such a different experience because I've known for a month that we had the police chief coming to this small meeting among people that I know. Like, I know all of you. I've been working with you for a year or more. And I just think that it seems to me that it would be great if more people could feel that way instead of feel like the only time I get is when I call in on Tuesday nights and yell at you for 3 minutes, you know.
There's,
Oh,
there-
I-
there's over,
Frosty,
there's over 2,600 people on Nextdoor for South Beaverton alone. We have 12 neighbors show up. So they have, if they pay attention to Nextdoor, which most of them do, because we've had police break-ins on cars recently and other things like that, you also have to have people show up. So this truly is one of the most participatory communities that you're going to find. And it takes people to extend themselves. And you're right, if they didn't know that these were options, all they had to do was go on the website, or hopefully you'll let them know, or Miles will let them know if they know who they are, that they can join their NACs.
Yeah. Thank you, Frosty. I think it's important. And again, remembering when we used to have these physical meetings, we put signs up every time we had a meeting. And I'm not sure that anyone came because the signs were there. They only came when we had a big issue like Frosty mentioned earlier. When there was something that they were stirred up about, they would come. But I agree, it's something we need to continue to work with. So we'll have to table that for now because we are.
Miles, I have just a really quick question for Miles, just because I'm
Yes,
assuming
certainly.
that you attend either most or all of the Beaverton NAC meetings. What is the participant in all of that? I mean, especially with Zoom, I feel like it's a little bit easier for people to do this if they can figure out how, than potentially coming to a meeting. So we have like 15 or so people randomly here. Like, is that normal for the rest of them, or is it more or less?
Yeah, I want to answer your question and also add a little background on it. So I'm not trying to dodge your question. So since when Zoom first started, we did see more new people coming out to meetings. And I think part of that is it's more accessible for a lot of people for childcare reasons or work reasons, transportation issues, whatever it is. September has been particularly low across all the neighborhoods, and I think that has to do with just everything going on. People are just kind of hunkered down. And then each neighborhood kind of ebbs and flows throughout the years. So some neighborhoods will have a run of 3 or 4 years where they have high participation, and then it slowly drops off as people get interested in other things. And then it kind of comes back. That happened to South Beaverton. Sexton Mountain, right across the street from you, they didn't have any members for a good 6 or 7 months, and now they've got, meetings with 20 plus people, board members filling all the positions. So it really ebbs and flows. And one way I like to look at the work is that you have 5 city councilors representing nearly 100,000 people at the city. So having 15 people represent your neighborhood, I think is pretty good, considering the way we conduct government in the United States. So we have this representative form, and that's the way people think of it. And so I think a lot of people think somebody else is thinking about these things, so I don't need to worry about it. And then there's people like you who are like, no one else is thinking about these things. I got to do something about it, which is great, and I really appreciate it. So hopefully that answers your question. I didn't dodge it or try to sugarcoat it. I would love to see more participation. It's been, public participation has been going down since the 70s across the board. So bowling leagues and membership in the Lions Club and the Elks Club and all these kinds of civic engagement and opportunities to get out and talk to other people who aren't your normal circle of friends has been diminishing year over year since then. So hopefully we're coming to a turning point where things swing back the other way and people want to get more involved.
I think as David said, it's the social media that may be causing some of that, which is not necessarily good.
I do have to wrap the meeting up, folks. I want to recognize 2 people, especially you're all brilliant and you're all great, so I thank you all there. But Dianna Hess, it's the first time I've seen you at the meetings. Maybe it's because I've not been paying proper attention, but thank you very much for coming. Was there anything particularly you were interested in getting out of the NAC?
Honestly, I've lived in the community for quite some time. I've seen the street signs. I've always thought I'm going to make it to a meeting over at Southridge. I have honestly been volunteered out over the past 12 years within my workplace, and the volunteering that I did there, I just had a change in that opportunity and thought maybe it was time to look back into my own community instead of. Anyway, I'm here just to learn, listen.
I thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate that you have come. We are very interested in listening and including other people, so thank you very much. And the other person was Alicia. I know you spoke earlier.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for coming. Is there anything particular that you were hoping to get out of the NAC?
Well, this has been on the to-do list for a couple of years. I've been in the community for 8 or 9 years and active volunteer with our local schools. And yeah, so it's time. I just needed to get, into participating in this and hearing, what other people in the community are saying. And that's why I'm here, to see how I can support and help.
Well, thank you very much, Alicia, also for coming to this meeting. And I hope it's not crossed up of your to-do list now that you'll come back next week or next month as well. So we appreciate that.
No, I've got so many ideas to help build the grassroots ideas on getting the word out. So my wheels are already turning on. My marketing brain's already in full effect here to help get, more people coming. So I'll be back.
Well, that is great.
Awesome.
Can I ask you new participants, I'll give you my email address again if you didn't catch it. If you can email me, I will make sure that I will send you out the agendas earlier. Is something I'm working on to make sure it happens. So my email address is mike.alner, A-L-N-E-R, @gmail.com. So if you email me and say, hey, I want to be part of the NAC or I want to receive notification, I will make sure that I send it to you. So if you can do that, and I'll try and keep up with that. Okay, the last one and not least, Heidi, do you want to give us the number?
I will give you a quick number, but first I'm going to say absolutely it's great to have a couple new faces here tonight. And while I support the extension of the 3 years, part of my thought in that process was with COVID and how do we drum up more people that even want to serve as board members or officers. And I don't want to desert the NAC board when there's still work to be done and great events to plan in the future. So I think the more we can kind of foster that community outreach, and I totally get Miles' point of like, what more can we do? And for me personally, looking at my screen, not around the table, unfortunately, most of the people I think that are here have all had like significant issues with properties in their neighborhood, similar to Mike and Frosty and me and Debbie. And I honestly didn't realize that there even was a NAC until the whole Cobb property thing happened. And I have to say, ever since then, I think it's been like 7 years that it's been really awesome being a part of this community in a much greater role than I was before and knowing what's going on. And anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox now and I'll give you the number. Our current bank balance is $7,249.22. I know it was said earlier that the grant money is plenty enough to pay for the virtual pet walk run event, but yeah, we certainly have the money if there's more that we want to do in terms of prizes or other help to the community.
And even Miles, if we needed to pay for some of the signs, I'm pretty sure we could do that too. And the last thing I was going to mention is we do have a bunch of hours for our planning sessions that we already held for the event in the park for this year that we haven't claimed yet. So I'm not sure, should we claim those hours that we put in already? Sorry, you're muted, Miles. We did a bunch of subcommittee work already for the planning for the park, and then we canceled it, but we already have those hours logged. I didn't know if I should just submit them in.
It would be great for reporting purposes. I can't refund any money that you haven't spent. So,
right, okay.
You won't get reimbursed for it, so to speak. But yeah, I take those numbers and I share them with City Council and with the Budget Committee, and pretty much anybody who will listen about the value that the volunteers bring to the city every month.
Okay.
Mike, did we do much more than just that first meeting at your house that was you and me and Kristal?
We
Was
had
there more?
we had 2 meetings.
Okay.
We actually held 2 meetings.
And Lisa and I can also put in hours via the Greenway NAC for the virtual dog walk, right? Pet walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for Alicia and Dianna, they probably don't know this, but for every hour that you put in on a project that gets funded, the city was about $27 miles, about that, $27, $28. We get reimbursed up to about $3,000 to be used for an event like the pet walk or our movie / fair in the park at Heighton. So this is a way for the city to help fund some of these fun events for each of the NACs and their communities.
It doesn't have to be events. It's a whole range of things. So
right, yeah. You can, in fact, you can go on to the city's website and take a look at all the grants that have been approved and everything from art to tree planting to cleanup to, in our case, movie and a fair in the park.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for attending this week. I will try and make sure I get the agenda out much earlier. It's been very difficult for me too. I keep on thinking I've got to do this 2 weeks earlier, and then I get bogged down by a whole bunch of stuff. So I will try to be more diligent in getting this out to you earlier. But thank you, everyone, for coming, and we look forward to meeting with you and speaking with you next week.
I'll be here for a few more minutes if anybody wants to stay on and needs questions answered.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Hi, Dominic. Oh, all the children.